Hello everyone, and welcome to our Peacock painting video. Go ahead and get your paint palette set up because I'm going to be jumping right in. So you're going to start by taking just some blue paint and making a bowling pin shape on your canvas. Now I'm going a little fast right now, so you can definitely pause the video and take it at your own pace. I'm going to then take just a little bit more blue and make one side of the peacock head a little bit larger. And then I'm going to just pull down the blue paint to the bottom of the canvas, covering all the way down, making what is going to be the peacock feathers. So just make this shape on your canvas and pause it whenever you need to. I'm now going to mix a light purple color for the background. So go ahead and take some white, some of the hot pink, and some of the blue and make a nice, very, very light lilac color. And you can just start applying it to the background whenever you get the color that you like. I do a lot of mixing directly onto the canvas. It gives kind of a more patchy, brush stroke, naturalistic type of feel. You can mix the color flat if you'd like to, though. And I'm just going to apply it to the entire background, so our entire canvas will be filled with paint. All right, once you have your background painted, you can choose to do this or not. You can speed up the drying process with a hair dryer, like I did. And then once you're ready, move on to the next step. I'm going to be mixing a nice green color using some blue and yellow and a lot of white because I like to keep my color light and bright. And I'm going to just apply it onto my peacock tail, making perfect little rectangles. I would use my flat brush for this, my big flat brush, and just because it makes cleaner lines and you'll be able to cover more faster. Now I apply these rectangles kind of evenly spaced throughout, and if you want to follow me directly and exactly, I think that could be a good idea, but you're always, of course, free to do your own thing and just apply the techniques. Now I'm going to just add a little bit more blue to make just a slightly different green, and this is mainly just for variation. This is optional, of course, but I just like to have lots of different colors on my painting because when you use the same colors over and over again, sometimes it can get a little flat. So I always take the opportunity when it presents itself to mix a slightly different color. Now I'm going to be adding a lot more blue, and I'm making teal rectangles. So adding more blue to the color I was using and doing the same exact thing, just making rectangles at the bottom. This painting style is very similar to what Chuck Close does in a lot of his work. And if it's interesting to you, he does amazing portraits and things using this rectangular type shape with different colors. He is our art history connection for this painting. And feel free to check it out on our website, our art blog. Now I'm mixing even more blue with a little bit of black, and you just keep mixing till you like the color. I, for instance, put this on the canvas and then thought it was a little dark. You can always mix colors as you go and add and subtract whatever you feel fit. And this dark blue gives us some nice variation, some nice contrast. Now I'm going to be making a lime green color, and I'm just going to fill the empty space. So any extra areas that I have, I'm just placing the color. Hopefully on your canvas it's pretty nicely spread out where you're putting the lime green. And I'm just not being too careful when it comes to the lines where my blue peacock line was drawn. You can go right over that. And in fact, it's good to break up that boundary area. All right, so I'm going to be taking my small brush now, and I am just going to go into the peacock body because we put a very loose blue layer, and I'm going to take some of my dark blue and just kind of give him some dimension. So going around the breast of the peacock and then adding some layers to give his body some 3D, like a curve. And I'm just adding these onto the canvas with my little brush. Now I am picking up some white and I am starting to work on his little beak. So just putting a very, very thin line and connecting it to the back of the head to make a face. And this step you can slow it down if you need to get the face shape right. If you make your white space too big or you feel like it looks like a glob, just take a little bit of blue paint and you can go back and paint over it once it's dry. Acrylic painting is low risk that way. And then I'm just taking some white paint and making some little dots on his body, just for a little detail. You have to use a very light hand when making those little dots. Now that my rectangles are dry on the bottom, I'm going to add a second layer of color. I'm going to switch to my big brush so that it is faster. I am taking some white and some blue and mixing a light blue. And I'm going to put a layer of light blue now. I'm going to make a couple of different colors in this step. That's why it's a level 2, y'all. Hang with me. This is a very, very light lime green that I mixed. And I'm going to use it in a couple of places. The nice thing about this part is you can play around with it if you would like. You don't have to follow me exactly if you have a preference of one color over another. But of course, feel free to do it exactly as I do it. This is a nice kind of turquoise color that I'm applying over some of my green squares. And now my dark square. And some of them I don't even fill in, I just make an outline. All right, so now I'm going to be mixing some orange. So I'm taking the hot pink and the yellow, and I'm mixing just a really pretty bright tangerine kind of color. And I am putting a little bit of white to tone it down just slightly because it's a little bit shocking. And I'm going to be applying that color also on the tail. Still making my rectangles. I'm going to apply these around. Just try to evenly space your colors. You don't want to have a lot of orange on the right side and none on the left. So just kind of make sure whatever you do, you balance it around your canvas. So I'm making a slightly lighter version of it now, just for a little variation. And this lighter orange I put in a few places. So now I'm going to be mixing my pink colors. So I'm taking my hot pink color and I'm adding white to make a nice light color. And then I'm just putting this color directly onto the canvas. It's important when we're putting these lighter colors onto the peacock feathers that you make sure that the layers below it are dry so that these light colors don't get too diluted. All right, and now I'm going to be taking some hot pink and mixing the pink that was on my brush and adding more hot pink to make a darker hot pink. And I'm going to be adding this to various squares. I am now adding some third layers to some squares. So if you have not covered all of them with at least 2 layers, do that. But if you have, go ahead and start on your third layer for some of them. If you put your pink onto your canvas and it looks a little too shocking, you can always tone it down with a little bit more white. Sometimes when you put the color and it's too harsh, it's best to just go ahead and tone it down a little bit. And with this hot pink color, I'm just going to put a little mini square just for little pops of color throughout because I like this color. This is optional. I'm now going to mix another teal color using mainly blue with some yellow, and I'm going to put some areas of contrast. So anywhere where I see the blue coming through, if I want to contrast a little bit more, I'm just going to put a little line to give even that flat blue background a little dimension. I'm also just going to go ahead and incorporate this blue into my design. All right, and then I'm going to go back and grab a little bit of white, and I'm kind of putting some finishing details onto my squares at this point. You, of course, can make these whatever colors you want, put your own twist on them. It's really up to you. I'm going to highlight certain squares with the white. And if you at any point don't like yours, I would just say to keep layering. You can't mess it up. You can always go back and restart. So it's really low risk. I'm now going to get into the face. So where we put our white before, I'm now going to take a black and just make a black little swooping line that starts underneath the beak and goes up to create the eye. I'm then going to create a little crown on the back of the head. And then I'm going to take some blue and put the little, whatever those fluffers are called, kind of make it look like a peacock. And you can pause this here if you want to keep working on it. So my last little step is going to be adding some colored specks to its body. We already added white, but now I'm going to take some of that hot pink and some of that orange and just add some more little dots to give the body really more dimension. So as I said before, you can piddle with these squares forever. I just chose to go back in with a couple little dark areas. If you want to try to incorporate another color, like maybe a purple or anything like that, please feel free to do so. I'm sure it would look great. And you just kind of keep building any layers that you think didn't look so hot, or if you think it's one area looks incomplete, until you like your finished product. And that's really it. I hope you enjoyed painting the peacock. Show us your work and use the hashtag Prime Paintings. So at Prime Fine Arts and Prime Paintings. Thanks, y'all.